Hello, 7th graders, and welcome back. This is part 2 of lesson 8.1, which is all about volume of your cylinders. So in the last video, we left off with your on your own part, and we went through those answers. So we're going to move into example 3 here, and we're going to talk through example 3, and we'll continue on. So example 3 asks how much salsa is missing from the jar, okay? So you went to the store, pre-quarantine time, and you went and got some salsa because you wanted some chips and salsa. And then your little brother or your little sister ate all your dang salsa. So you want to know how much they used of your salsa. So I've got a cylinder here because your salsa jar is in the shape of a cylinder. So we are going to continue using our cylinder formula, okay? Our cylinder formula, as we've seen before, is this volume equals pi r squared h, okay? Now, the tricky part of this one is I can tell that my 5 here is my radius, okay? Because it's only going from the center to the outside of the circle. The tricky part, though, is finding your height, okay? Because it looks to be that you have 2 height measurements. You've got 10 as well as you've got 4, right? You want to know what is missing in this part. So this whole part that's missing. So to figure out that missing part, you're going to have to take how tall the actual jar is, and you're going to subtract the amount that is still left in it. So that's going to give me my height of 6. All right. So that's how I did it over here as well, taking that 10 minus 4 equals 6. Now, before we plug it in here, your code word for today is potato, okay? So code word potato. We're going to keep going, though. All right, so what I'm going to do then is use my formula. I'm plugging in my radius. So my radius was 5 squared. And I'm going to multiply it by this 6. I think it looks kind of like it's a negative 6 here, but it's not. It's just a positive 6. So I'm multiplying it by 6, okay? Because that's that height part that is missing. All right, once I do that, I'm going to figure out what 5 squared is first and multiply it by 6. So 5 squared is 25. I just moved it to the front, but you can keep it back here. And then I'm going to figure out 25 times 6. 25 times 6 gives me 150, and I'm going to leave that pi to the end, and when I do that, I'm just going to plug in that 3.14. So I just didn't show that I multiplied 150 pi by 3.14, but at this point you should understand that your pi equals that value, or approximately that value. Once you've done that, you will get an answer of 471 centimeters cubed, okay? So this is how much your little sibling decided to eat of your salsa. Which is quite a bit. They ate a lot of your salsa, okay? They ate 4.71 centimeters cubed. Okay. Let's keep moving ahead then. I think the next part isn't on your own. We might take a look and change some of these. I got to kind of look at them here. Oh, no. Okay, we're going to example 4. Sorry. After example 4 is the on your own. So let's look at example 4. Example 4 here is a problem where I've got this big water jug, okay? So if you've ever gone to like a doctor's office, sometimes they have a dentist, or like I feel like I always see them in offices. These big water jugs, they're usually tipped upside down. You got the little thing you can, the way you can pour it out into the little cups. But it says about how many gallons of water does the water cooler bottle contain? So I want to know how many gallons of water does it contain, okay? If you notice then another part that's going to be important in this, and I'm going to change my pen color here, is this conversion, okay? Because if you look at your figure here, it's being measured in feet. I want to know how many gallons. So we're going to start by using our same formula, solve it with the feet, and then we're going to convert it to gallons at the end to figure out what our answer should be. Okay, so I've gotten a multiple choice answer here. We're going to figure out what's the best option for us to pick. So again, using that same formula, we're just going to plug these in into my equation. So my height is this one. Okay, this is my height. Now my 1 is my diameter. Remember, your diameter is the biggest thing, so to find my radius, I need to divide it by 2. Okay. So my radius actually ends up being 0.5 because when I divide 1 by 2, I get, or 1/2. You could leave it as 1/2 or make it a decimal. Sometimes in the multiplication and doing this, it's a little easier to write it out as a decimal. But you can use it as that fraction form too, or 1/2, same thing. All right, so plugging that in, so I kind of just explained that. I think we're going to pull this sideways here. Maybe not. Oh, let's go here. I don't know what I was doing over there. All right, so what I did, plug in my radius of 0.5. We're going to square that radius, and then we're multiplying it by the 1.7. Now, squaring your 0.5 is not multiplying it by 2. Remember, that means you're multiplying it by its same value. So you're taking 0.5 times 0.5, okay? Which gives you a 0.25, and then multiply that by the 1.7. Which gives me 0.425 pi. Notice how I have not simplified any of my decimals yet, okay? Keep as many decimal places as you can until the end when you need to simplify, because sometimes your answers could change if you simplify halfway through, okay? From there then, we're going to just move it this way so I can have this part. I get a volume of 1.33 feet cubed, okay? If you notice, looking at all my different options, though, they're all in gallon form. So again, this is where units are going to be very important, and you need to make sure that you're reading your units, because right now, 1.33, there's no option for that. Closest thing would be the 5.33, and at that point, you're ultimately just guessing, okay? It's not worth it. It's not worth all your work right now to just randomly, blindly guess. So the part that I had taken was that conversion part. That is really important. So it means that 1 foot cubed is approximately, because it has this weird little squiggle, so it means it's about approximately the same as 7.5 gallons. So I'm going to use that conversion, and I'm going to just set up a proportion like we've been doing before to solve this out, so I can use my butterfly method, okay? I'm going to move myself over here a little bit. So what I did is I set this up because my conversion was 1 foot cubed is the same as 7.5 gallons. So here's the conversion. And I just set it equal. Well, I knew that my measurement was 1.33 feet cubed. I just don't know how many gallons. Okay, so I didn't put a variable. I just put a question mark gallons because I wanted to show you the units that are in here. Forgot to add this feet cubed though. Okay. Then I just use my cross multiplication or my butterfly, basically. So I'm taking this 7.5 times 1.33 is going to be the same as this 1 gallon. So really, I'm only multiplying the 7.55 times 1.33, and that's going to give me how many gallons I have. When I get that and I approximate it, let me double check what would get in your exact calculator. 0.5 times 1.33. So you're getting something like 9.975. Now remember that conversion was an approximation, so this is okay to be slightly off, but you don't want to be so off. So in this case, it's about, that's why I had the little squiggle, it's about 10 gallons. So for picking my answer, I would pick your answer as B. Okay. Let's keep going. This is going to be the part where we're on your own. I may do some of them, we may not. I want to take a look here and see what the problems are, and we will kind of discuss from there. All right. Let's not worry about 4. Let's worry about 3 though, okay? So I want you to take the time and see if you can figure out 3. I will go through it here in just a minute. I don't have this one already written out, but I will write it out here in just a minute. So go ahead and pause the video. I want you to solve problem 3 here. So you're going to go back and look at example 3. Figure out the height of the salsa in the jar. What if it was actually at 5? Okay, so how much salsa would you be missing from the jar this time? Okay, see you in just a sec. All right, thanks for coming on back. When we solved this one out, again, it was saying that the height of your salsa is 5. So, you know, your sibling decided really they weren't going to eat that much. They ate like half your jar pretty much. But, so I take the 10 minus the 5. That's how I get the height measurement of 5. And I'm still using that same radius as 5. So I take 5 squared times 5, or ultimately 5 to the 5 cubed, which is 125, and I'm multiplying it by pi. So this time what I'm going to get for my volume, or the amount of salsa that is missing, is 392.5 centimeters cubed. And I believe that answer was asking that you round it to the nearest tenth. It didn't specifically say. So round it if you need to. Otherwise, so I'd say at least maybe a decimal point, or like in this case, I rounded it just to the nearest whole number. With volume, it is tricky to make sure measurements are the same. It really depends on if you're using 3.14 for pi, or if you're using 22 out of 7, or if you actually use the pi symbol, or if you're using 3.141592659, I think. Whatever, you know, it depends on how many digits of pi you're using and where you round it to. So for the most part with your answers, I will be kind of lenient, meaning there'd be a little room for flexibility, but you got to have very close to the same answer, okay? So I would say that something like 392 would be fine, or 393 would be fine, okay? But if you had something like 527, that's nowhere even close to the right measurement, okay? Biggest thing though too is make sure you got those units and you're putting them in correctly and you're having them to the right power. This last slide I left blank. This is where I'm just going to talk about your homework, since your workbook is just kind of there for extra practice if you want to, and I'm not grading it. So I am going to tell you your homework. Your homework, like I said, is going to be, you still are expected to do your big ideas. So 8.1 on big ideas math. Okay. All these assignments will be uploaded on the 20th of April here. Your assignment then will be due on the 26th, so it's Sunday night, okay? Due. So make sure that you are getting these assignments done during the school week. So Monday through Friday. I gave you a little flexibility just in case something came up and you need to get it done, but I'm going to highly suggest that you do it Monday through Friday, because I might be busy over the weekends, you know, doing other things around the house. I mean, I know we're quarantined right now, but I could be doing something else, going on walks, and I don't necessarily always am going to be by my stuff if you have questions. So make sure you're getting your stuff done during the week and asking your questions as soon as you can, okay? Make sure you found that code word along the way here in this lesson, because I might ask you for it at any point. If you haven't found it yet, you might need to go back and rewatch it, okay? Don't just expect it to always be at the beginning or the end, or wherever. It's going to be anywhere that I feel necessary at the time, okay? Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.